Hey, AfterBuzz TV, welcome to the Legends of Tomorrow After Show. Tonight we're breaking down episode 14 from season 1, River of Time. We'll be talking about novelty pens, brainwashing, and Sarah Lance getting a chance to be a pilot of the Wave Rider. What a new profession. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah, go like this.
Yes. There we go.
Meant to make you go old inside.
That's right.
To put you back in time.
See if you can catch that deep cut that this song relates to for this episode of Legends of Tomorrow. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Legends of Tomorrow After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. We've got most of the panel assembled tonight. Lex Michael is out journeying the time. Yeah, he's trying to fix some error back in the past.
Watching Civil War somewhere.
Well, that's what he was really doing.
Lex.
Oh.
Can't he just go tomorrow morning like me?
That's right. To my immediate left, though, we've got Lacretia Lyon.
Hey guys, it's LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet, since there is only one.
I feel like we gotta make an animation for every time you say your name. It just pops up like Sesame Street.
You know,
Hey, see, I'm Mr. Dave Child. It's pretty easy. It's Dave Child with a Mr. in front of it.
MR Dave Child.
MR Dave
That's
Child.
what I call
Just
you
an
now.
MR Dave Child.
So proper. That's what I love about it. Now, Lacretia, you see she's got the laptop in front of her, so feel free to jump in the chat room there on the YouTube, on the YouTubes, as the kids like to say. Share your comments, and if you have any questions or thoughts about this episode of Legends of Tomorrow, episode 14, River of Time. Also, you can like us on Facebook. You can give us a sweet 5 stars on iTunes. Follow along with the hashtag ABTVLOT.
Just love us.
Just love us. That's all
Just
we want.
love us.
Yes.
All we want is for you to love us. I like, by the way, that you started off the show by saying Sarah has a new profession.
Yes.
Of piloting the Wave Rider.
Yeah.
It makes me think maybe that's all what Legends of Tomorrow is. Just everyone building up their resume.
That's
just slowly. Because, Rory now has, he's a Chronos.
He was a time master.
He was a time.
Yeah.
He was a time bounty hunter. He didn't have that on his resume before this.
Jack's an auto mechanic from 2016, able to repair a time machine.
Yeah. He's like,
They're
hire
so
him
similar.
for anything.
Yeah.
Jeez, he knows exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Just reading I think in a previous episode they said that he read the manual, and that was enough for him to be like, all right, I know how to fix and maintain a whole time machine.
Like, if you know how to do that, you are pretty much set for life, because you can do anything.
Yeah, he's set. He's set. I mean, I think when this is all over, it's just going to be Ray Palmer just hiring him to make a better suit, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the giant robots of the future. But it's Jax's influence in it.
Yes. Now, there were several things that we thought were enjoyable about last episode. Especially we got to see. Well, I think we all pretty much loved Ray Palmer fighting Leviathan.
Yes.
Yes.
So that right there, I think, was like a fun thing. But there were a couple things that frustrated us that we didn't get a chance to really delve into that carry over into this episode. Specifically, Kendra's decision to not kill Carter. Not kill Savage, because of doing that, Savage could not restore Carter's mind.
Well, also not kill Carter. This episode begins with basically Snart and Rory laying down our exact thoughts for why they're in this situation of they have a person that is able to reanimate himself or relive lives, come back, and they have the person that they've been spending 12 episodes now trying to kill, and they're not killing him, and they even have a weapon that can kill him. And it's unclear why they didn't just kill him and kill Carter and just be like, oh, this is a reboot. But I can understand why maybe Kendra would not want to do that, because she can't really
Same face, but yeah.
Yeah, or even look at the bigger picture. I think we're all a bit removed, so we can look at the bigger picture and be like, oh, you can reboot Carter by just killing him off. But I think you can make the argument that in the moment she would have a hard time seeing that. And they did introduce Rip having the idea of this will be a chance to actually clear his name, which was actually, I think, a good move. It was actually one of the positive parts of the episode I liked, where it was good motivation for Rip to actually clear his name, because he found out that Vandal Savage has been using time-traveling like devices and stuff from the future, so would make him illegal in the eyes of the Time Masters.
True. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess as we start the episode, we flash back to our Rip's first time of trying to kill Savage back in ancient Egypt, where he got caught in an earlier episode during that assassination attempt, and now we follow up where he's actually in a cell, weak from the lack of food and water, and Savage wants to know, like, what's your deal? What's going on? How do you think you're going to get out of here? You can barely stand.
You don't have a novelty pen, do you?
No.
I hope you don't have a novelty pen.
That was at least a fun little anecdote that he saved himself with a novelty pen that shows boobies.
Which I don't understand, because if you're going to put somebody in a cell, wouldn't the first thing is you'd kind of just look through everything they're possibly carrying, so you wouldn't find that?
Yeah.
Where's Rip hiding that novelty pen?
Everyone knows you keep your boob pens up your butt.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the only place.
Of course.
If you have a boob pen, that's where you need to keep it, just in case of emergency.
Got a
I
keys
knew
for
Rip
that.
was kinky.
Hashtag emergency boob pen.
What's up, Rip?
Please spread hashtag emergency boob pen. Thank you. Thank you. I'm done. Bye. That's all I needed to do.
Just walk out.
And when we come back to the present day, we do find out that, as we were talking about, that we got Snart and Rory kind of basically speaking as the audience, like, hey, why didn't you just kill him and then let him reboot, because he can reincarnate, so not a big deal. Then we can also get rid of Savage too, not a big deal. But then we tie into when Jax and Ray say, hey, we find this technology that is certainly hundreds of years ahead of where Savage would be even in 2166.
Right.
We got him on the hook, like you were saying.
Yeah, which makes actually sense. I think if you are able to clear your, because you got to think about, okay, they kill Vandal Savage, the family is saved, but you're still going to be, in trouble with the Time Masters. So in the long run of things, it kind of makes sense to keep Vandal Savage around to kind of clear his name, but you could make the argument that you could just kill him and then clear your name.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Rip's thought is that you take him to the vanishing point, the Time Masters put him on trial, find him guilty, and then use like somebody like the Pilgrim or whoever's like that to go back and kill him in a pastime and wipe him out of all existence.
By the way, did you think, because this episode was filled with what's happening on the Wave Rider and jumping to flashbacks, mostly happening right before they actually left on this trip, like sides that we haven't seen of each character before they left on this trip. But the first time we see a flashback is happening with Jax after he gets like blasted with like time radiation.
Yeah, so I thought it was going to be a Jax specific thing, but no, we just find out that it's not necessarily even related to that, getting exposed to that chronal energy.
Right.
It's just a device we're going to be using for everybody.
I thought he was going to be like jumping through time.
Yeah, kind of like the Unstuck Man.
Yeah, or having
that would have been better than
having like a Slaughterhouse 5 thing going on that he can't quite like position himself, because he's seeing past versions of himself, jumping to past versions and maybe future versions of himself. I was surprised that they didn't do something like that.
Yeah, because I really didn't mind the other flashbacks, especially like with Sarah and Stein. Like, we care about them too. But with Jax, like, we know less about him than anyone else.
Right.
And I was like, oh, are we setting up to learn more about Jax? We kind of care about that. But it's like, nope, we got crapped on with the Rain Kendra stuff again.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things, that's one of the stuff we talk about with this show. It's hard when you have so many characters to just focus on one. And if all the flashbacks were Jax-centered, that would be like a breath of fresh air for the show. But they couldn't really do that because they also have to balance everyone else.
Well, we basically have Savage caught in her cell in the Wave Rider, and it seems like this episode is everybody comes to Savage. They all have got a bone of contention with Savage, and he's going to kind of play mind games with them while they're standing there talking to him while he's in a cell. And the first up is Rip.
Yeah.
Which we know that I have to kind of learn, like, the damages of traveling through time is that you can end up causing him as many problems and maybe even give bad guys ideas. Like, he pretty much gave Vandal Savage, like, hey, the idea of time travel.
Yeah, that was one thing. It was like, you're about to try and clear your name with a confession that basically admits you're the entire reason Vandal Savage is as powerful as he is. It's like, I don't think this is gonna work.
Yeah.
See, this reminds me of the Powerpuff Girls. When
Of course.
yeah,
I mean, what
exactly.
doesn't?
You know, it just comes up
They
because
say Vandal is very Mojo Jojo.
Exactly, and see when Mojo Jojo went, he realized he's the one that created the Powerpuff.
Right, that does happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually true.
I was going somewhere with that.
Right.
Like,
just like that?
I was like, I just wanted to bring up Powerpuff Girls.
Right. So Rip is the Mojo
Yes,
Jojo.
exactly.
And Vandal Savage is the Powerpuff Girls, all three of them. I do like how you get to see Vandal Savage have his he did a great like Hannibal moment, you know.
Oh yeah.
In that cell and talking to everyone. You get to see him really flex his acting muscles there and kind of be a real good badass. So that was a nice moment.
That was good.
of
Or
the
it was
episode.
like Loki whenever they had him.
Yeah, it was very Loki in his cell too.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think the series would have been served better if we would have had just one episode from Vandal's point of view early on, just to
Right.
really establish, like, to
Who he
show,
is.
because so far we only see him as just kind of like the stereotypical bad guy. We don't really see any
Yeah.
nuances at all. And if maybe you saw that earlier in the season, you might think a little bit like more well-rounded villain.
He
Yeah.
does make a good tuna casserole.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
Evil casserole,
Evil
as we
casserole.
discussed.
Yes.
But I do like, because there's some really good Vandal moments in this episode where he talks about how he has held his children as they die of old age, like several children, which is something that's we haven't really thought of. We met one of his daughters, but that's about it last episode. And he must have had a ton of kids and having to deal with that. And he also talks about I think I lost my train of thought. But he also just like what he's fighting for. Oh, Kendra, falling in love with Kendra, having that there was a lifetime where it was him and Kendra together. I think he was telling the truth, and I think
Yeah.
it was kind of an interesting moment that I wish we could see. I wish we could almost visit.
Yeah, that's a flashback that they needed to have because Vandal Savage telling Ray that, like, I really kind of saw that was
Right.
probably one of the better scenes in the whole episode. Him talking to Ray about, yeah, I loved her too. We were together. I mean, and you can tell, like, Ray didn't fully believe it, but to me, I want to see it because I do think that Savage is telling the truth.
Yeah.
And it would make sense. And it's probably not just one lifetime, like he said.
No, I
You
didn't.
know,
And it just was nice because one of the Ray Kendra relationship has been something that's been a problem for all of us throughout these last couple of episodes that we keep bringing up and giving grief about. But having that turn, you could see how it's a good idea to have someone fall in love with Kendra on the ship because it turns them into Vandal Savage. Because
Yeah.
that's something I actually kind of forgot about. Why he's even after the Hawks in the first place is because he was in love with Kendra, but wasn't able to actually and then she was actually in love with Carter, or whatever his Egyptian name was. And Khufu.
Yeah.
Khufu.
they just go with Carter, even like this one. It's like, his name isn't
Yeah.
Carter Hall. This is like a future.
Yeah, I was
like,
gonna get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's so just putting Ray into the spot of like, oh, you're just like Vandal Savage, is actually like an interesting dramatic move.
Yeah,
And
that made sense.
yeah, it would have been nice to see
Yeah.
it earlier on in the season, yes, but there's a lot of moments that I feel like they're good ideas in like a strange episode.
Well, and to me, it could give Ray more depth because I do like that he's the naive guy, and that's cute. But yeah, this sort of gave him a moment to be like not the good boy, and would have been good. But yeah, if we could keep going with that.
Well, I think if you want to have one overarching villain for an entire season, I think I would think it would benefit to be able to have an episode where you really get a chance to see everything from their point of view, just so you, because otherwise he shows up like kind of like this boogeyman, almost like a Jason or a Michael Myers, where he seems pretty much indestructible, and he's always gonna you might think you have him, but he always escapes, and he comes back and he's gonna traumatize you again.
I mean, there's even an episode of Lost where we see it from Jacob's point of view, the big bad of Lost, after we kind of find out a bit more about the mystery. Not to say there isn't a lot of problems with Lost,
Oh yeah,
but
that show.
I just
made me
think
angry.
it's nice to see it from the flip side that way. The same with Battlestar Galactica. I think that happened a couple times where we saw it from the Cylon's point of view. So it is it's a nice way of expanding the universe and seeing more of the world by seeing it from different point of views. And we saw that in some of the flashbacks today, which was kind of nice.
Yeah, so we do find out, of course, after Rip talks to Savage, he's like, "Oh, we gotta, not listen to Gideon. Say, put the pedal to the metal. We got to get back to Vanishing Point as fast as possible." Even though Gideon's like, "I don't advise that. Shut up.
I know what I'm doing.
Yes,
I'm Rip Hunter, and everything I says goes right."
Yes.
Does it ever?
Time to the perfect moment when he says, "I know the Wave Rider better than Gideon." Clunk, clunk, explosion. Up the time.
Yeah. Oh, jeez, Rip.
Yeah. Okay. Wah, wah.
Oh, Rip.
And so when you have your time machine broke, who do you go to? You go to Jax.
You go to Jax. You go to the mechanic from 2016.
Yes. So who gets hit with that chronal radiation, which is aging his internal organs faster than his exterior, but everything's aging. Yeah. And Gideon can't do anything about it.
Right. I wondered why. I guess they don't have this. Like, they don't have, if they combine into into Firestorm, it doesn't heal them. Like, I feel like I've seen that before, but maybe I'm just making that up. I just assume it's like comic book rules where it's like, combined into the superhero.
Kind of resets everything.
Yeah, and you'll reset everything and be fine. But, it's all just which made-up rules you're following anyways, but...
Yeah. And then we have Sarah talking to Savage, which he just throws out like, "Hey, talked to your sister lately? Like, do you think so, Savage? She's been on this time festival for quite. Do you think she's really been just chatting around with her sister?"
Yeah, and I love how they did that, but then didn't let her know yet. Like, are they gonna drag that out? Oh.
I think it's gonna lead up to a reveal that's coming on, because I think in the next, not to jump ahead to predictions, but I think we're going to go back to 2016 at some point, especially since
Jax is there now.
Jax is there now. Not to jump ahead, but it's. I guess we could just follow Jax's storyline because it's probably the shortest. But they find that Gray felt like he needed to go back in time in order to reverse the effects of what was happening to him.
Yeah, he did the calculations and he determined, it's going to reverse the chronal energy on you, and so you'll de-age.
Yeah, right. And it was kind of like what we were talking about last week, where the writers are just like, all right, this is, as long as we explain it and say, this is the made-up science part, then it'll be fine.
Well, it's like when you just you put your car in reverse and it rewinds through odometer, right?
Yeah,
that's what happens.
That's exactly what happens.
That's Ferris Bueller science, guys.
Right, sure. I was surprised they didn't say just get away from the machine or something, get away from the engine, because it's like causing the influence. Anyways, but he's sent back to 2016 because I guess they have an escape pod that's automatically set to 2016, which is the smartest thing on the Wave Rider I think we've seen yet.
Besides Gideon,
yeah.
That actually, that makes sense. That actually makes sense to have an escape pod that brings you right to where everyone on the Wave Rider is from, except for Rip. But that actually makes sense to actually have that. So it's like, oh, that's perfect. But they only have one of them, and Jax is sent back to. Which is like terrible for Snart and Rory because they were planning on heading out.
Just
but
leave
not, but not before Stein sedates him, to which we get another roofie callback.
Roofie being
He's a perv.
I totally didn't realize that before he was like talking to his mom. He's like, "Oh, I'm about to go meet a friend at the university." It's like, "Oh, he's about to get roofied." This is all pre-roofie. Oh. Jeez.
Yeah. And as we talk about, so he's back in 2016. As you mentioned, Snart and Rory wanted that vehicle because basically through that entire episode, they know from this previous job when things went bad called Alexa, that Snart was able to get them out of trouble because he just had a bad feeling about this. And he's having that same kind of feeling that keeping Savage on the ship, the longer you keep him on there, the bigger chance that something wrong is going to happen.
Right.
Which I feel like, again, he's talking for the audience. And it's like, and it's one thing, I think, that to say what the audience is thinking, but if you're saying it, that means that everybody's thinking it throughout the whole episode. If you're not going to act on it, then that's just like, come on.
I feel like you could say it, but then you have to give like, well, this is why we can't do it. And I feel like we never really get a satisfying, well, it's just, hey, we're trying not to kill people here. But they spend a lot of time killing people. Even Ray has gone through someone's spine.
I know.
At this point.
Cool.
So it's like, I feel like you left that kind of moral charge back a few episodes ago. So now it's, and it's all about like killing Vandal. So I wish they were kind of leaning more towards the reasoning of, trying to clear the name, trying to clear their names in general. so there's not a time police after them.
Yeah,
Like
'cause
even
they've
after
screwed
they
a
go
lot of
back
stuff
to
up,
yeah, they're gonna go back to 2016 and supposed to live a happy life. And if there's still like time police after them, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, very true. So yeah, I guess it does make sense to why you can't immediately kill him.
Yeah, I mean, or you can at least have that as an explanation, but they
Yeah.
don't really touch upon that.
Yeah.
And also during this episode, I don't know if you're about to get to this, but the Kendra trying to
Yeah, let's just jump right into this. Kendra.
brainwash.
God.
Yeah, trying to open up the mind and wings of Carter.
Yeah, when we
Yeah.
find Carter, he's basically held up in chains right there on the Wave Rider, and Kendra and Ray, because you always wanted to be that supportive fiance, comes with and talks to the ex and says, "Hey, let's get you figured out, buddy."
Right.
In Ray fashion, the buddy and then
Yeah, come on, buddy, let's get you figured
Ray's
out.
like, I'm totally cool with this.
Oh.
Nothing's gonna go wrong with this.
Yeah.
I feel fine.
Oh yeah. To which, as she comes closer, basically he just Carter just puts his legs around her, throws her down on the ground, tries to crush her neck.
Yeah.
Ray gets to be a little bad, tough guy there. He gives a couple good knockout punches.
Yeah, but that was the beginning of. I think that was a bad move for Ray though, because that made him seem like he could just do that to anyone.
Yeah.
No.
He could just like burst in and punch anyone,
Yeah.
and it'll turn out fine.
It's one thing when they're handcuffed, Ray. It's another
Yeah.
when they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep in mind you're just a nerd with a suit.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not, a hand-to-hand fighter like the people you're trying to go up against here.
Yeah, and Vandal Savage is an immortal, time traveling, billionaire. I mean, how many things can we do to describe Vandal? Carter was a reincarnated Egyptian dude. Like,
Right.
you can beat him, maybe, Ray, but Vandal Savage.
I want to point out, I just looked at the live chat, and as we've been talking about this, the one question I see is Dark Bio Cloud asking, maybe Snart will get a threesome? So please go to the live chat, because there's a whole different conversation going
I
on
don't know.
there.
There's been some fun stuff.
No, all right. Interesting. Feel free. I Lacretia, if you're seeing other great topics like that.
Yeah, a lot of them include language we're not. We shouldn't
gotcha.
say on
Right,
the show,
right,
but
of course.
But we see after Ray does that, he goes and talks to Savage, and that's when Savage starts planting the seeds for what's going to happen later for Ray in the episode. It's like, hey, I could tell you how to fix Carter, but you're going to lose
Right.
Kendra if we do that.
Yeah, I'm building up that kind of you're the same as I.
Yeah.
I think trying to get Ray's goat so he can open up the cell and start fighting with him. And that's pretty much exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is one thing, during Rip's conversation with Savage, he just says, I'm playing the long game. Even a longer game than you can imagine. Because you may be a
Right.
time master, but I'm a master of time.
That was a great line. That's good. That was some great, like, Vandal Savage, I'm a badass moment. And it was good to see that, because we kind of forget it often, because he just becomes the MacGuffin.
Yes.
So rather than actually being an interesting villain that we want to, see get foiled, he ends up just being a Maltese Falcon that they're trying to get.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
it's nice to have these moments where it's like, no, I'm a badass. I'm ruining the world.
Yeah, and not like being like scenery chewing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like, just really calmly, just really getting into people's heads with that. I thought that was really cool to be able to deliver those lines in that sort of
Yeah.
fashion.
Until Ray opens up the cell.
Yeah.
And then
so-
we all were kind of like, "What, Ray? What are you doing?"
yeah, we know your dominance adorable, but like that was just so an obvious bait, buddy.
It was all of his like testosterone being like, "I am just."
Well, because before he does that, he sees Kendra trying to reach Carter by sharing the love poem.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Sharing a love poem and
then
like
wha-
touching his face.
Yeah. And
Touching
then,
his face.
Ray. And so Ray just says, all right, I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah.
I think we just need to break
Yeah.
up. Which,
I feel like also it instantly was like, I'm touching a face and saying a poem. And then he instantly went like, no, not the face touch poem. And then she saw that, was like, oh no, what have I done? And it was just,
Oh, Ray.
I feel like if I was Ray, I'd be a bit more forgiving of that.
yeah, but again, as we've discussed, we've had these issues with his relationship all season. So when they do this breakup where Ray says,
Right.
that's it, I can't do this anymore. It doesn't have really any weight because you've been telling us the whole time, folks, that it's not going to work out. So
It's
why should we even
doomed from
care?
the beginning, so
Yeah.
we're just waiting for it to actually just be doomed.
Yeah, I'm just like, finally, please, somebody, are we officially broken up? Officially?
Yeah.
Is this it?
Yeah,
Is
it
this-
better be, because
Yeah.
they just love to bait and switch us.
Sorry, I would have liked if Ray would have
Yeah.
left us in no take backs.
Yeah, that would have been great,
Are we
right?
finally done with this storyline?
Yes.
Are we set there?
Yeah.
Are we good? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I really
Cute.
love all the talk about Snart and the three-way with Nyssa. We've got a lot of people who said he would just rather watch. So that just seemed better than talking about Ray and Kendra. So I agree, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Snart with Nyssa and Sarah, whether he's watching or involved. Good idea.
Well, so I guess we will talk about a couple flashbacks. We'll talk about the
Right.
Sarah Nyssa flashback as we're talking about that. So we get a little touch of there when Sarah gets resurrected back on Arrow. We see a little scene from that time when she talked to Nyssa when she was in prison.
Right. And she just walked in. That was nice because a lot of the flashbacks kind of accomplished something that we all thought of in that first pilot episode. It's like, it's weird that she didn't talk to this person.
Yes.
It's weird that she didn't, they didn't say goodbye to their loved ones, because I don't think we even got a Gray and his wife moment.
No, we didn't. Not at all.
So it was nice to actually see that too, even though it was just a quiet little scene where he's like, "I'll be right back. Nothing's gonna go wrong. I'm not gonna alter time at all." And the same thing happens with this Sarah scene too, where you get to see her talk to like one of the best. By the way, I think one of the most believable love matches in the entire Arrow Flash universe is probably Nyssa and Sarah. Like, I think it kind of they make more sense than like Kendra and Ray and a lot of other ones that we faced.
See, if only they would do Malcolm Merlin and John Constantine for me.
Yeah,
That's
Chris's got
right.
that,
Snart.
that kind of
Yeah.
fanfic.
Again, you can find Slash Fiction
Yeah.
by Lacretia at
Yes.
and you really should set up a website.
I know.
Just all your Slash
Yes.
Fiction.
These flashbacks we get, kind of touching back with characters like Felicity and Ray, something like that. Do you feel like those are scenes you wanted to see earlier in the season, maybe even in the first episode, or right now showing him now has a little bit more resonance? It shows a little touchstone to things that are happening currently in their lives.
Right. Well, I'm glad they got to it, and that's the most important thing. But it would be nice to just get to the meats faster. I feel like this show has a lot of treading water and jumping in between different moments that I feel like it would have been nice to see it earlier on in the series. It would have been good to kind of move on. Like this whole episode, in general, I feel like if it was written as a novel and this was a chapter, you could change it so this was like just the end of last week's chapter. It just didn't feel like it accomplished very much.
Chapter.
That's the end of that. So there was, like you were saying, I think there's a lot of moments, especially with Vandal. I would have liked to see him as a more likable guy, like earlier on in the season.
Yeah, like with the casserole. That was funny. Like, why couldn't we have had more moments like that? Like, we're like, no, I kind of like Vandal
We
Savage.
need more casserole moments. That's the big
yeah.
thing of this show.
Because, I mean, it would be interesting to just, I think I had a better appreciation for Vandal Savage if we just saw something and I'd understand. Like, you may not agree with his point of view, but you at least understand his point of view and why he's trying to take over the entire world. What was his motivating factors? What kind of let up? What was he trying to get revenge or overcome something? It just, something that I had a little bit more vested interest in his side of the argument as well.
Right. We have some comments here that says the flashbacks seem to come out of nowhere, even if I wanted to know that info. That's a good point.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, they seemed odd. Like, Jax's made sense in the beginning, and then the rest of them were like, okay, where are we going here?
Yeah, because it made sense because you're thinking it's a coronal burst and he's unstuck through time like we were talking about. But when you see everybody else's, you're like, this is nice. It's great to see Ray and Felicity have this conversation, but I wish I would have seen it in the pilot episode because Oliver and Ray talking, not as important to me as seeing Felicity and Ray talk.
Yeah, because Ray and Oliver, it's like, what's the point? Like, again, it's not like they were even really friends. And, I'm going to be just like the Green Arrow. I'm going to be the Atom. Like,
and I felt like Ray and Felicity are meant to be more than even Felicity and Oliver.
Oh,
like,
I agree.
I feel like they were a better match. They're a bit too similar, maybe, but that's the only, so far in Ray's life, that's the only one that really makes sense, that match.
Yeah, because I liked him with Felicity, and I'm just not that big of an Ollie fan in general, but yeah, like, maybe Ray's...
That's just blasphemous.
Yeah, maybe Ray's similar-looking brother, Sydney, could come in. And
But weird, because we talk about how much we enjoy the chemistry between Ray and Felicity, but when Ray breaks up with Kendra, he mentions Anna, his fiance, but doesn't mention Felicity at all.
I called him a bitch, I think, in the live tweeting, and I love Ray.
You know what? This makes me feel like they're leading up to something because there's two suspicious activities that have happened this season. One, we see Anna very briefly, like off screen enough so it's like, please don't pay attention to whoever's playing Anna. That's what I got to kind of look behind the scenes, and the way he's pushing his relationship with her rather than Felicity, it makes me think what's going to happen is we're going to go back to 2016, and it's going to be a Back to the Future 2 moment where too many things have changed. They're in an alternate timeline, and Ray is still with Anna. And Anna shows up, and he's like, Anna's still here. But they haven't cast her yet.
Gotcha.
So they don't know who's going to play Anna. So they needed to have like a vaguely brunette like woman who's different enough from Felicity. And they're kind of setting up for, I think, a relationship that they're going to play. That's my big prediction for maybe season 2.
And I'd be interested to see if because keeping Anna alive, that was kind of that's basically Ray's motivating factor to becoming the Atom, seeing her die and not be able to protect her. So say she's alive, does all of a sudden Ray not be the Atom anymore? Or is it just like it would have been any other incident in his life that may have made him do that? But, I mean, it seems how can you really trump a more important event than watching your fiancée die and not being able to save her?
Right. Yeah, that is his big origin story. So
yeah, so I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see how whether it's a Back to the Future 2 or they save the day and the Time Masters say, we'll give you one gimme, one time gimme, guys.
Yeah, everybody gets a gimme. What would you like, Jax? All right, your dad, Ray.
Now, okay, I just had an idea too that might happen in next episode. They might not be setting up. Oh God, if they do this is going to be a big stretch. But they could have it so. In next episode, we'll get to it. We'll get to predictions. I got a prediction that might be a little silly.
All right.
Okay.
And we do have Stein talking to Savage, and I do like Savage at least acknowledging somebody that can rival my intellect.
Yes, yeah.
So I'm like, all right, you got to make sure Stein gets his proper acknowledgement. Like he's spreading some guy around.
I think Vandal knows how to butter Stein up a bit when he walks in. Be like,
he's a narcissist, so he just loves to hear, oh, you're so smart.
We're both smarty pants. Look at our pants. We're so smarty. That's what he's basically saying, right? That's what I would say if I was in the room.
But it does give him the idea to send Jack back home. All of a sudden, Ray goes back to talk to Savage. They get into a fight. Ray gets a couple good licks in, but of course, Savage is like, all right.
Of course. Savage is also, when we first met Savage, he was winning in a hand-to-hand fight with Oliver and the Flash.
Yes.
He's really good. He's had centuries to learn how to fight. That's what makes it really hard for them to just walk up and kill him every episode. So it doesn't make sense for Ray to just open up the cell and go in and fight him hand to hand. That was just...
Bless his heart.
That was just his penis in his head.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I felt frustration at the moment because I just felt like it's coming.
Yeah.
And he's just, especially when he says like, I know what you're trying to do, but I'm going to open the door anyway. I'm like, ugh, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they needed to, but as you talked about, this is a chapter that could have been written because it didn't really change anything.
Yeah, you know what I wish they did is I wish that it was revealed that Vandal had his own Atom suit hidden where he hides his novelty pens.
Yes.
Which is why they didn't find it, because it was in the butthole. And then he brings it out and he gets into his own novelty suit, and that's how he's able to sneak out. That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
They tied it into the whole novelty pen up the butt story that we're obviously focusing on.
Sarah Nicole Jones, why are you not having Mr. Dave Child in the writers' room for things like this, right?
I mean, I got the gold.
Yes, I mean, as you said, that you have that board where everybody can just write a phrase or a word. So there you go.
There you go. Novelty pen up the butt.
Yeah.
Would be what I would write. I would ruin the show so hard.
No, you can't be worse than Kendra and Ray were.
Oh, well. Well, it would be more fun because it would involve novelty pens up the butt.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So it all devolves into a big fight scene. We've got the Savage freeze Carter. We're gonna have Rip, Snart, and Rory taking care of them along with Kendra, while while Stein and Sarah, they're gonna have to pilot the Wave Rider into the vanishing point.
Yeah.
Do it by hand. Do it by the old-fashioned way.
Do it by hand. Take out the time maps.
Yeah.
The ye old time maps.
That's right. Take them out. And it's a really big dramatic moment where Sarah then realizes, like, I guess I have to pilot the Wave Rider. Mm-hmm. That big moment where she sits in the chair.
Puts on the...
Yes.
Let's go with a roller coaster ride.
But we see Savage and Carter basically just wipe the floor with everybody.
Yeah.
And then we get Carter bringing Kendra over to Savage, and then Carter has his little headache.
And he gets his little wings.
Yeah.
His wings pop out. He has his moment of, I guess, something is said that reminds him of all of his past lives. So that kind of, his brain is unwashed or dirtied. And then has a little fight, and then Kendra gets a few good knocks in, and then that was enough to take Vandal down.
Because Carter does get stabbed.
Exactly, but he lives this time.
Oh yeah, he's still alive. As soon as he got
No one
stabbed,
cared.
I actually had a moment that was like, oh, that's it for him again.
Yep.
He comes back and then he goes.
I just imagine it like South Park. Oh my God, you killed Carter!
Yeah.
They should have done that. Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apparently the chat, we have all decided that the pin has been up Rip's butt the entire time, which
Right.
would account for his attitude.
Right.
Yeah.
That explains so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But Rip feels like the traveling hero because he's got his man. They got him confined again. The only thing that's really changed, we got Jax back in 2016. Ray and Kendra have split up, but Ray's got his guy, or Rip's got his guy, and they head to the vanishing point. And of course, Savage takes a moment like, how did you get out of that cell? And that's where we get to have Rip talk about the emergency novelty pen up the butt.
Yep.
That's where
Pin up the butt.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
implied, at least.
And Donovan Walker has made a great suggestion that he wanted to pass the pin down to his son, like in Pulp Fiction.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah.
Patton.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh. Patton. Passu. It's Patton. Sorry. Everyone has a Hackney walk-in impression. They have to bust that every now and then.
Yep.
Ooh, I want to be like you. Just watched the Jungle Book. All right.
So we have Rip. Hale, he's all cocky. He goes back to the Time Masters there in the Vanishing Point. Says, "Hey, guess what? I'm not here to be tried for my crimes. I'm here to bring you
Surprise.
Savage.
Check this out, bitches.
Yeah,
Brings out Vandal.
Yeah, brings out his cool little flashlight pen. Says, guess what? I got a recording of him saying that he's been messing with the time stream.
Yeah, take that, Druce.
Yeah,
Druce is back. Good old Druce.
And man, Drew's
But,
not.
man.
Drew's is like, we gotta. That's right. We gotta send him back to Earth.
Yeah. You got me, Druce.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I don't know why. Again, I don't know why Rip was so cocky, showing a confession that really damns himself, like really badly.
That's true.
He could have at least edited it so it's like, yes, I have been traveling through time. Instead, he even includes the like, seeing you made me realize time travel was possible, so I worked on it. So really, it's your fault. Anyways, but it turns out Vandal is in line with Druce and the Time Masters this whole time. Oh boy. So villain A and villain B turns to be the same villain.
Do you feel, and I'm guessing next episode we'll kind of find out a little bit more reason why they're teaming up, but do you feel like you needed a little bit of that right now? Or it's like, oh no, this is just setting up like the suspense, and we'll get the answer in the following episode?
Well, I do want to know why, what is their big moment that they think is going to happen? Like, what is the game plan? What's the end game of this whole thing?
Yeah, because they said it's important for him in the long-range game plan of time that the Savage be back in 2166 and achieve his goals.
Yeah.
Even though
Murder his family.
even if he's using technology that's hundreds of years more advanced.
Yeah, and my guess is it's the same sort of feeling that, Ra's al Ghul has, and even what's happening in Arrow right now with Dark. It feels like everyone's kind of, they want to have their own perfect world that they're in charge of.
See, everyone just rips off Malcolm's plan from season 1 of Arrow.
Yeah,
He started
I feel like
it.
that's
Trendsetter Malcolm.
So I'm curious about why, if it's just, if the whole end game is that the Time Masters and Vandal control the world and they're able to make it perfect because of that, or what's going on. If it's something a bit more in depth, that would be nice to know.
Yeah. It'd be nice to get you see, like next episode, it'd be great to get some setup between the Time Masters and Vandal Savage to figure out like the origins of this whole plan. Maybe see things more from Savage's point of view to see when the Time Masters first approached him. Maybe we get something like that. But that's getting more to predictions. So as we end the episode, we do have everybody's on the wave rider thinking, oh, we're set, we saved the day. But Snart finally paying off the Alexa thing, that he's been having this sinking feeling something's going wrong. He does realize something's going wrong. People are on the ship. They need to hide. So I feel like Sarah and Snart are going to be our two people that are going to save the day. Which finally, at least, it pays off that he's been talking about this. So.
Yeah, and also Sarah and Snart are some of the best characters of this whole thing, and you really want them to. They have great chemistry, and you actually want them to kind of team up and save the day. So that's going to be great.
Yeah. And I do like at the end where it seems like the first thing they do is before they put Rip in a cell, they strip him of his duster and just give him like a regular old school leather jacket.
That made me wonder, does he have I never noticed that he just has this Indiana Jones leather jacket underneath the duster?
Is it underneath
maybe.
it?
Is it maybe I just never noticed. But I think he maybe just has a few different jackets on. And is that where he hides all his pens?
Yeah.
And just like layers.
I thought it was up the butt.
It could be. We thought it was up the butt, but maybe he's just like this skinny.
Yeah.
He's just this skinny, and it's just all jackets on top of it.
He loves to layer. But yeah, you can only wear the duster if you're the captain.
Yeah.
And he's not the captain anymore.
I do like the idea is that in the Vanishing Point, their cells, their prisoner outfits, like really fashionable leather jackets.
Yeah, they just give everyone. We just like leather jackets.
Wear the stylish leather jacket and get in the cell.
Yeah.
And then Savage takes a moment to show him, like, hey, I had this pen the whole time. I've been holding onto it for 4,000 years.
I know it's been up your butt, and I still have it.
Like, man, all right, because I've been holding on to something for 4,000 years. I don't know if I could actually hold on to something that long.
Yeah.
But
I do like, by the way, there are some great lines that we skipped over.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
I love Vandal Savage having his, like, real I'm a supervillain moment by saying I'm Vandal Savage, destroyer of empires. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Destroyer of empires, and then having Snart yell back, I'm forgetting what Snart's first
Leonard
name is.
Snart, robbers of ATM.
Robert of ATM. That's a great line.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, guys.
And Heatwave just had like so many, like, because it was just like he was speaking for us, like really calling out everything for being stupid. Like especially Ray. He's like,
yeah, or having like, you're under arrest if I had a nickel for every time.
I heard that.
Yeah, then there was, I also like, by the way, when Vandal refers to Jax as the nuclear counterpart to Gray. I thought that was great because I just wanted Nuclear Counterpart to be a new band name. I just wrote down Nuclear Counterpart.
New band name.
Band name.
And he called Vandal Savage Mullet Head. I wrote down all of Heatwave's lines. Yeah, I love that Mullet Head because he does have a bit of a mullet.
He does.
He's got the Geddy Lee thing going on. Long hair with the receding hairline. Yeah.
He has the face and hairline of a supervillain. He can't possibly be a hero.
No.
At all.
So that brings us to the end of the episode. So I think we have time to do a few predictions about what lay ahead.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Mr. Dave Child, you've looked into the future. What do you see?
I'm gonna put what I hope happens is they go back to 2016 and find Jax, and Jax helps them understand this weird Back to the Future 2 world. What could happen, though, and I think this is stupid, but it also could very much happen, is Jax, with all of his knowledge of how to, fix time machines, he takes his little, like, buggy time machine that he basically got sent back on and goes back into the future to save them. So he rewires the whole thing to go into the future and save everyone, which could very much happen, even though I think that's also relying too much on Jax knowing exactly how to operate and save a time machine, which, they've established he knows how to do.
Yeah, so that would be good. He could show up and help Sarah and Snart save the day.
Right.
Yeah, and then they could become Firestorm and actually do something cool.
Yeah, and the Snart and Sarah stuff, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I love how people are saying they should be co-captains. Here's my prediction on that. Captain Cold is the captain, Lala Captain Mal, and Sarah is Wash. And then they make out.
Oh, all right.
Fair enough.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, boy, with only 2 episodes left, I feel like this, we've got to get everybody free next episode, so I feel like of course, it's got to be with Snart and Sarah saving the day, with a little help from Jax, and then that's just going to set us up to the final battle for episode 16. But I'm really hoping that we just, as I mentioned earlier, I'd love to get just more backstory with the Time Masters and Savage about when they came together, what their exact game plan is, and just get me to like understand a little bit more from Savage's point of view about what he's trying to do. And these Time
Yeah.
Masters, what's going on with you guys? All right.
Yeah, come on, Time Masters.
I just want a little bit more backstory on my bad guy, so I can fully appreciate what the deal is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I obviously like bad guys, so I wanted to like Vandal Savage. Only his casserole, man.
But we all know what happens in the very last shot of episode 16. We're going to have Patrick J. Adams just show up, and he will be from Ran. That's what's going to happen. He's Adam Strange.
He might be Adam Strange. I like that idea. And then we go into the vast beyond and meet some aliens, which, you know, that would be interesting.
That's true.
Didn't we also have a lot of DC Universe, like, hints at things that were supposed to happen in this season or in the DC Universe at some point? And we have a Legions of Superhero ring that they've hinted at Supergirl and Flash, but they haven't done anything with. And you also have, what are those other, like, gadgets that they had? That you
all from
remember?
the Justice Society.
Justice Society.
Yeah.
We have no Justice Society yet.
No.
They've mentioned Hal Jordan and Coast City like 500 times between the Flash and Arrow and this. So.
Have they mentioned Hal Jordan?
Like
actual
there have been
Hal
like
Jordan?
little Easter eggs, like
Coast City I saw, yeah.
Yeah, and then Hal is on in Earth 2 the phone in Barry's house, and then you have Tommy Merlin actually talks about in the first season of Arrow about how there was a pilot who crashed in Coast City and they can't find him. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, I'm
right.
a big Green
Well,
Lantern fan.
I mean, that was probably so early in the universe before
No.
they realized they were going to expand so far. But yeah, I mean, that's all stuff that could come out, and maybe this is the way to do it. Like, it would be nice to meet Justice Society.
Yeah.
Either way back when or current.
That would be very. I would love to see that. And if we're talking about Green Lantern, certainly with the failed movie that didn't really kind of launch him like he wanted to. You see the Flash. I think people are excited to see a Flash movie from DC and Warner Brothers because of the excitement of the Flash show.
Yeah.
I mean, and you may want to see those characters on the film, but just the idea of people excited about seeing the Flash, I think, has been increased by the success of the show.
And they have said that there's going to be. Isn't there going to be a Green Lantern movie?
There is, like Green Lantern Corps.
It's going to be Green Lantern Corps, which
Yeah.
is great. That's the best stories from Green Lantern.
Yes, but it would be great to, like, why not just have a Green Lantern on this show? Get Hal Jordan in there just to stoke interest and get people excited about the character.
Yeah. Also, you've established already with the Flash Supergirl crossover that this is all alternate realities.
Yes.
That they don't have to, just because you have Suicide Squad in one world doesn't mean it has to be the same Suicide Squad in the other one. So just bring them all in. Bring them all in.
Get people excited about seeing these things in the theater.
Yeah.
It's a great launching platform to get people excited about that stuff.
Yeah.
That's us. That was our Legends of Tomorrow soapbox that we just got on there for a second.
Bring Green Lantern, Hal Jordan.
So that's going to do it for this episode of Legends of Tomorrow After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. So as I said, like us on Facebook. Give us those 5 stars on iTunes. Follow us on Twitter if you want to continue the conversation after the show. Mr. Dave Child, where can they find you if they want to continue that conversation?
Well, they can find me at Mr. Dave Child on Twitter and Instagram or just davechild.com.
Lacretia?
And again, you can find me at LACRETIALYON anywhere on the internet since there is only one.
Ooh, all right. And you can follow me on Twitter at HappyGoJackie. Make sure you tweet at us who you think Patrick J. Adams will be in that final shot of episode 16. We'll start the speculation pile going. We'll start announcing, placing some bets. Place bets at the end of the night. We don't endorse gambling here at AfterBuzz TV. Sorry, guys. We'll see you next week. Ready with an episode of AfterBuzz TV's Legends of Tomorrow After Show.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Druce!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.